All right. Let's see if this is any better. I hope it is. I might have to do something a little janky here. Let's see. All right. Let's see if the audio is any better than it was in the last attempt I was just doing. So, for those of you guys who are here or just joining, apologize for that. And you guys can let me know that the audio is good or bad. And let's see. I'll log in. Let's see. Sorry for the technical issues tonight, guys. It's not always easy getting all this stuff put together, making sure it's all good. Let's see. Double checking. If any of you guys are there and listening, just let me know if you can hear. And in a second here, we'll get started. Just got to log in and see what questions that we might have tonight. And then, of course, you guys can ask any questions. You got me for a while here. We are going to be talking about, as usual, Second Amendment related things, but also some issues of the day. So let's see. Get this. Can't do that. And sometimes I feel like technology is really awesome, but sometimes I just hate it. We'll talk about that in a bit. There we go. Got this part going, so hopefully the audio is still good. I think you guys audio is probably coming in good, but we'll try. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get to it. Let's see. I've got a couple different questions here from my email. So if you guys have any questions and maybe you can't make it to the live chat, that's totally fine. I have an email just for you, and that is Mr2Actual@gmail.com. MR2A Actual, all one word, @gmail.com. You guys can ask me any questions you have. Obviously, I'm focused about the Second Amendment and gun-related stuff, but if you guys have life advice or anything else that you guys want to add on, you can email me at Mr2Actual@gmail.com. And that's where I get a number of questions that you guys have. So here we go. The first question that I got, let me make sure I'm reading this right, from Anonymous is, Out of all of the machine guns or full autos that you have ever shot, what was your favorite and what was the worst? That's a pretty good question. Pretty open ended. I can definitely tell you. I think the worst machine guns or full autos that I've ever shot, just from like a end user perspective, or from a shooter's perspective. Definitely, it's kind of in different ways tied for first place with the Scar Mark 17 that we have at work. That's full auto capable, and then also a Dishka on the back of a Humvee. It's probably the two worst full autos I think I've ever shot in my life. The Mark 17 because it's not controllable. Now with enough range time and training and rounds of ammo and range days and really beating that into the ground, could you be okay effective on full auto with the Mark 17? Yeah, you could. But people, at least in a civilian context, people who are going to have the opportunity to shoot a Mark 17 Scar, and now we're talking about the 7.62 NATO, 7.62 by 51, full auto capable, Scar 17, pretty lightweight platforms. Most people who are going to get the opportunity to shoot something like that in civilian world are not going to have weeks, months, years of training and experience and range days shooting that thing full auto. So when you shoot it, you're going straight to the ceiling. It's very loud. It's concussive. It's not controllable on full auto. And the recoil is pretty stout. It's almost like a full auto Mosin is how it feels. So, and then if you have military experience with the Mark 17, the Scar 17, yeah, you may have the capability of full auto, but you're never going to use it. You're always using semi-automatic. That's for a reason. So I feel like it just kind of kicks you while you're down for everyone. Kind of tied for first place of being the worst full auto that I've ever shot would definitely be a Dishka. That's the Soviet. I don't want to say version, but application of our M2 50 cal machine gun. It's a 12.7 millimeter, so Soviet 50 BMG, if you will, and most typically found with this crazy muzzle brake on it, and it's very loud. To actually load the rounds into it, I wouldn't want to do that in the dark, or unless I was like I could just do it by feel, but you kind of have to see what you're doing. And then actually charging the thing, it's got like this pull cable, like you're trying to start a lawnmower. And then if and when you have successfully loaded the rounds, you're ready to go, and you start firing this thing, it's bad, dude. You're going to need like a dentist or something. It just kind of rattles you around. So I think the Scar Mark 17 and a Dishka are probably the two top worst full autos that I can think of that I've ever personally shot. What would be the best? I think that one's kind of hard. That one's actually pretty hard because I can think of the worst ones that come right to the straight of my head. Like, bam, those are definitely the worst. But in terms of the best, I've shot a lot of really good machine guns or select fire capable firearms, and I'd have to be biased and say that the 240 Bravo is one of my favorites, one of my all-time favorites. I mean, it was what I was issued, but also we have one at work, and even when a customer shoots it and I'm helping them load it and unload it, making sure everything's safe, I can't help but smile. It's like, it's awesome. The modern one, because when it first came out, they were working out some issues. Sounds a little familiar if you know the history of the M16, but I think the modern day 240 Bravo with the hydraulic buffer and kind of the set gas regulator, kind of the modern stuff on it, it's pretty outstanding. The MG42 that we have as well, that was, every time I've gotten to shoot that, it's been pretty fantastic. So, just because it's like a ludicrous rate of fire. The gun mechanically, it's a delayed blowback, like roller delayed system. It's like a 8mm Mauser MP5 sort of, and the cartridge that you're actually shooting, 7.92 by 57, 8mm Mauser. I mean, it's out of control. The whole thing is just out of control. And when you shoot it, the rate of fire is about 1,300 or so rounds per minute. So it's just like a welding arc of just all of on our steel plates at the end of the range. You can just see like it's kind of like just a constant recoil kind of feeling to it. So, but real quick, since more of you guys have jumped in, if anybody can just give me a chat message, I want to make sure we finally worked through the audio stuff, I hope, but I want to make sure the chat is working so you guys can ask me questions. So if any one of you guys can type in and say, hey, that'll let me know that the chat is working. Let me see. But yeah, if anybody can just send a message in chat, just to let me know that it's working, it'd be awesome. I guess if like 5 minutes go by and nobody chats anything, then I'll start to realize that you guys can't chat any messages. Let me let's see, double check all of that. Just want to make sure I give you guys the best that I can do in terms of content, making sure that, you know, that's why I do these. I want you guys to be able to ask questions. So according to the settings, it should be working. So we'll see. But if any of you guys can type a message real quick, just let me know that the audio is good. Hopefully that finally got fixed, and then the chat is still working. And then you guys can ask any questions you want in the chat, assuming it's working. So we'll see about that. But getting back to the question, I was asked the best and worst full autos or machine guns that I've ever shot. Kind of circling back, the worst would be a SCAR Mark 17 on full auto. Not a good time. And then a Dishka. Yeah, the Dishka is probably, that was not good. The best, I was talking about the 240 Bravo machine gun, general purpose or medium machine gun. I will say the MP7, and you know, whether it's the P90 with the 5.7 cartridge or the MP7 with the 4.6mm cartridge, you know, kind of the secret sauce on those weapon systems is, you know, having full auto capability and being able to do a lot of rounds in a very controllable, small shot group, and they're all really small diameter, really lightweight, but really high velocity, and especially if you have armor-piercing rounds to be able to defeat body armor. That's kind of the secret sauce on guns like the P90 and the MP7. P90 is also cool, also has a high rate of fire, small, lightweight, high-velocity projectiles, but MP7 I think was cool because it was controllable, ergonomics. With a little bit of time, you can get used to them, and I have. And I think that was pretty cool. MG42, like I said, pretty awesome. It's not something I would want to be issued to have to go fight a war with, but it is something that if you're just appreciating the mechanical design and shooting it, pretty good. But let's see, we got a couple more minutes here. But yeah, if any of you guys watching and listening right now could just throw up something in the chat. I just want to make sure the chat is actually working. So I'll give it a couple more minutes, and I guess if I have to, I'll just restart the live stream. Hopefully the audio is good. Let's see. Just want to double check that you guys can ask questions and anything else that you want to do. But yeah, those will be my answers for the best and worst full autos that I've ever had. But I don't know. I almost feel like some of you guys are trying to type something in the chat and it's not working out. Let's see. According to the settings, it's all good. So, but even not, I think I'm just going to press forward. And if the chat is working, if the audio is working, you guys can ask any questions you want and put any questions you guys may have. But yeah, probably in Second Amendment news, getting to that, probably the biggest thing that we have coming up is on November 3rd, obviously coming up pretty soon here. It's the October 24th, 2021, when I'm recording this. But November 3rd is when the oral arguments start for the New York Rifle and Pistol Association versus Corlett. For those who don't know, this is it's a pretty interesting case, and I have a feeling this can be a pretty important case because, first of all, it's a Second Amendment case that the Supreme Court actually decided that they were going to take up since 2010. So it's been 11 years. Lots of things have happened, Second Amendment related, in the last 11 years and more, but within 11 years, we haven't had any Second Amendment related cases come back to the Supreme Court. And this was a case that they actually decided that they were going to take up. And the case involves basically the state of New York to get a concealed carry permit. You have to demonstrate above and beyond, essentially, that you have a need that necessitates and warrants you to have a concealed carry permit. So not only is it what we call a shall issue state, or excuse me, a may issue state, because a shall issue state is a state that if you pass the training, pass the background check, and you want it, pay the fees, you do what you need to do, then you shall be issued a concealed carry permit. But in a may issue state like California, New York, and New Jersey, other states like that, they may issue you a concealed carry permit, just depending on if they feel like your reasons are valid enough. So, with New York State and how things exist there, it's pretty much not the same, but almost exactly the same as California, where you need to be a wealthy person, you need to be a famous person, you need to be well connected with certain local representatives who can push your name and make things happen. You need to donate to the right re-election campaign to actually get one. So Basically, the lawsuit is, well, and it's kind of wrapped up going back to Heller and McDonald versus Chicago about, if we don't have a right to openly carry a firearm, but then we can't effectively get a concealed carry firearm, well, doesn't the Second Amendment cover and protect your right to protect yourself even outside the home? Because remember, Heller versus DC in 2008 established that you do have a right to have a firearm, at least at that time, in your own home for the purposes of lawful self-defense. So what's interesting is I've seen New York State has fired back with some interesting arguments about that you do have a right to carry a gun or have a gun for self-defense in public, but in certain urban or populated areas, that right may be diminished or be able to be diminished. So I don't know. Does your Second Amendment basically require that you're in a rural, kind of agricultural county, kind of spread out, or does your Second Amendment apply whether it's out in farm country or in the city? So also, I think if this case goes favorably for the Second Amendment, I do think this case is going to change it up. I think if it goes the way I think it's going to go, depending on the coordinating opinion on how this case might be ruled, I think we are going to effectively see an end in shallow things. But in the meantime, let's see. If anybody can just type a comment, ask a question, I just want to know that the chat is working. I suspect it's not, but if you guys can chat a comment in the next minute or so, just let me know that the chat is working or not. Maybe you guys are typing and commenting, and maybe it looks like it's going through for you, but right now I don't have anything here. So I'll give it another minute, and worst case, I'll just, for the third time, maybe third time's the charm here tonight, but I'll restart it again. I don't know how many of you guys are in here. I don't think the chat's working, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and stop this.